Hello, everyone. So, most of us have been trading in markets, but what we lack is conviction. So, conviction is actually the most difficult thing because you have thousands of stocks in the markets, but how do you find that single stock which you can invest and make money in? So, that's what we're going to look today. How do you build conviction just by using technical analysis and how you can use it to invest in markets? And if you've been investing for quite some time, you're going to definitely find this video very interesting. Okay, so we're going to look at also some tools in technical analysis that I use to increase my conviction and how I increase my conviction in my trades as well. So I'm also going to show you a couple of examples. So stay tuned till the end of this video and let's look at today's video. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to stop chasing money. Now, most of us who have come to markets have been behind money, and we all want to make money in markets. But if that's going to be ultimate goal, and if you're going to start off by chasing money right from day one or right from beginning of your trading journey, then that's not going to take you anywhere. So the first thing that you have to do is to, in order to really be profitable trader, you need to have a process that you have to have in place. Now that's going to be ultimate goal, to be a profitable trader, but you cannot think of being a profitable trader right from day one, and that's going to be very impossible. That's going to be really, really impossible. And for that, what you have to do is you have to have a proper a journey which you will have to practice again and again. You'll have to have some strategies, you'll have to do some learning, and then you have to do that on your way, right? So in this screen, what I have is I have 4 steps here which I'm going to show you, and I'm going to teach you also how to build conviction by using technical analysis. So step 1, you need to learn price action. So most of you in markets are, most of your beginners probably, and who are watching this video, don't know really price action. So the first thing you need to learn is what is price action. Now price action is a very simple technique which just talks about higher highs and higher lows. Now there are other videos that you can watch in my channel which can help you understand price action, but without that it's going to be very difficult for you to be a profitable trader, and that's the very first thing that you have to do. Now without learning this, if you jump into trading directly, if you directly want to make money, which is your ultimate goal, that's just not going to be possible, right? Everything that we do in life, we need to have a certain process. We need to study and then ultimately practice, and that's how we do each and every aspect or each and every part of job that we do now, in our life. So that's the step 1, learn price action trading. The step 2 is you need to figure out a strategy. Now by a strategy, I mean you need to understand what kind of a strategy you're going to trade. Now there are hundreds and thousands of strategies available in the market, and you can start off by just focusing on one particular strategy from someone, probably from me. Check out my videos and see if you can find a strategy which will probably be your very first strategy that you're going to use and trade in markets. I need to first understand what the strategy is, try to understand the reasoning behind it, and then start following it, right? Then you need to find a risk management strategy. Now by risk management I mean you need to have a technique where you can control your risk. In markets, everything is about risk, and you need to know what is the risk in a particular trade or in a particular investment we're going to take. I need to have a proper strategy for that. Again, there's a video on this that I've made. Do check it out. And the final thing or final step is you need to practice all of this repeatedly again and again and again, right? Now, for example, if you're an engineer right now, you did 4 years of engineering, you did coding, and you practice that over and over a period of time in your job, and probably you're a very good coder or a very good engineer today working in a good company, right? Even I did my engineering also, and it took me a lot of years to get used to what I'm doing right now. In a similar way, you need to spend time in markets. You need to practice what you learned and strategy. You need to practice price action again and again, watch a lot of videos, read books, take some trades and see how it works. And you need to journal those trades. By journal, I mean you need to understand what are the mistakes you're doing, what's working for you, what's not working for you. I need to understand and correct those mistakes and improve every day. Now, this is going to be a long journey, so you need to give it at least a few months, if not a few years, and you need to be at it and don't lose money. Put a small money and see how it works for you. But without doing these 4 steps, you will not be a profitable trader, right? Now, I've spent many years, more than 10 plus years. I've been in markets since 2009. I turned out profitable in 2017 onwards, and it took many years for me to build conviction, and it took me many years to be where I am today. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about how you can increase conviction when using technical analysis and how you can probably build a portfolio if you're looking for investing. Okay, so let's start. First, you need to know how a trend is coming, right? Now, if you want to really build conviction, you need to know that a trend is about to start. Right now, without knowing that the trend is about to start, there's no use buying a stock, and there's no use buying a stock which is going down, and there's no use holding on to it. Now, in this example, I have example of ice make. Now, in the example of ice make, here I have the weekly charts. So the first thing you need to start off is look at the weekly charts, which is a larger trend where you can catch really big trends. Now you need to know when this larger trend is about to start. Now for this, I'll give you some tips as to how you can build conviction and know that the trend is about to come. Now the first rule is, in the weekly charts, your CCI needs to be above 100. Now that means that the trend is about to start, probably, know the bird. Next thing is you need to know whether the relative strength is above the 52-week moving average. Now, again, all of these, I have videos in my channel, go check it out. But by relative strength, I mean that the stock needs to outperform the markets and that moving average, and the relative strength has to be above the 52-week moving average, which means if the relative strength today is let's say X number, it has to be greater than the last 52 weeks moving average, right? Now here, these are simple indicators. Now both need to be, so relative strength needs to be above the green line and CCI needs to be above 100 here. And then along with this, if you see a very strong green candle, right? A very strong green candle, I mean, you have to have really huge candles like this, right? Now you have a huge candle here and you need to have huge volumes. Now this volume should be pretty high. Now if you see in this area, we've seen a lot of big green candles and we've also seen some huge volumes coming in, and CCI also turning 100, RS is also above the 52 moving average, and that shows that probably a trend is about to come, and that's what helps me build a conviction and keep this stock in my watch list. Now remember, the stock is not yet given a breakout. For now, the stock is just heading near the resistance, but for me, the factors that I consider as an uptrend is about to start, and the factors are showing positive signs, and that's how I know that a trend is about to start, right? And this may or may not start, this may or may not begin, but for now, this stock definitely needs to be in a watch list when you have these parameters set. Now, the next important parameter that you have to look at is you need to find a stock. If you find a stock which has no resistance above this dotted line over here, that should increase your conviction even further, because the moment a stock breaks out from these kind of levels, so the stock doesn't have any resistance higher. By that I mean everyone who's bought the stock, everyone is literally in profits, which means there's not many people to sell, and the stock eventually head higher, right? And the next important parameter is the stock needs to be in a downtrend or consolidating for at least a few years. Now here you could keep a standard rule as 2+ years, and if the stock has not done much for the last 2 years, or if it has not done much for, let's say, 5 years, then that's a great setup if these parameters that I just discussed start showing up in your charting tool that you use. Okay, so that's how you build conviction towards a stock where a trend is about to start. Okay, now second question is, how do you know that the trend has started? Right, now you know how to have a conviction to know how a trend is about to start, but how do you know a trend has started? Right, now for that I have the same chart here. Now the candle where we saw a huge green candle with volumes is this area here, right? Now at this point I know that the stock is about to start a trend, and then this is the area where we had this resistance over here, right? Now stock kind of came here and went up, and it came again down, so it broke the previous swing low. Now remember, I mentioned price action. You need to understand price action. Price action is very, very important to understand. So here in terms of price action, this stock kind of went high, but then it broke the previous low. Now for me, that's a very bad sign. And at that point, for me, this stock is not in a good uptrend. Even though it can be an uptrend in long term, the short term, it is not still an uptrend, because it has made a higher high, but it didn't broke the previous low, right? Now next, again, the stock kind of went high. Now this time the stock crossed the previous high, which means the stock is in an uptrend right now. But to define a proper uptrend, you need also a higher low, right? So we had a higher high here. Next, you also need a higher low. So the moment the stock crosses this point here, so now we have a higher high in place, and then we have a higher low in place. Now compared to this low here is higher than this low here. So overall we had a higher low and also a higher high. Now remember, I'm using this pivot points indicator just to show you those numbers, those pivot points. Now you need to see that the pivots keep rising. The pivots on this side needs to keep going higher, and this also needs to be going higher. So overall, finally, when we had a breakout here, at this point is when you know that the stock is finally in an uptrend, right? So the all-time high resistance has been broken. We had a higher high, higher low in place, and we also have a volume spike. And on the daily charts, so this is daily charts, and here you also have volumes increasing, you have CCI above 100, and you also have resistance above 100, and you have strong green candles. Now, all of this indicate that this stock is finally in an uptrend, and an uptrend has begun, right? Has uptrend has started. Now, unless you do not know that uptrend has started, you cannot have conviction in a stock, because eventually, even if a company is fundamentally very strong, if the stock is not performing, then there's no use investing in the particular stock. So eventually, this stock is now breaking out and going higher. So at this point is when you finally increase your conviction and you say, this is a stock that I want to be in, and you buy and allocate a decent portfolio, decent amount of money in the stock, and you buy the stock and you hold on to it. So that's how you know that a trend has started. Now, the next important rule is, in order to increase conviction, you need to know the price action. You need to understand what the candles are doing. So you need to observe the candles. Now, in the previous example, I talked about the strong green candles and the volumes. Now, when you have such combination, you know that the stock is doing well, right? Now, the next is the candles, right? Now, I've taken the example of ITC here just to show what happens here. Now, applying the same rules here. So I said the first rule that we said is CCI needs to be above 100, and relative strength also needs to be above the moving average, right? 52 moving average. Now at this point in the red lines, if you see, we had CCI above 100, but we did not have the relative strength above the 52 moving average. So at this point, my conviction will not be high, because it could be just that the stock is moving along with the market, but the stock is not outperforming the market. So your conviction will be low. But also, what you need to understand is, moment a stock starts, breaking out and starts showing strong green candles, and also CCI is above 100, and here you need to observe the candles in the past and the candles in the present. Now, for example, here in this example, if you see here, I have highlighted here 2 points here. In fact, 3 candles. You see there are wicks on the lower point of the candles, right? Now, when the CCI kind of crossed 100 and latest trend also turned above the 52-week moving average, the stock is in a clear uptrend. Stock has started an uptrend, but how do you confirm that the stock has really moved an uptrend? It's by looking at the past behavior, right? Now, if you see around this zone, there's been a major support here, and finally you're breaking out above this, above a major support, above resistance zone as well here at this point. Now that point is when you look at this and you say, okay, there has been a strong support, demand has been absorbed, and finally we are having a move with strong volumes and strong green candles. So also you can look at some points like here, right? Now this trend has started, but after this trend has started, we've not seen a single red candle like this, right? If you see in the past, we've had strong red candles like this, like this, like this, right? So whenever we see a strong red candle with the entire body of the candle is completely covered in a very strong red candle, that shows that there has been selling pressure for the entire week of that particular stock. Now here, after this breakout, if you see in ITC, we've not had a single strong red candle yet. That shows that ITC is in a very strong bullish trend. Now, unless you see a stock in like this kind of a situation where there's hardly any strong red candles, you need to hold on to the stock and try to ride the trend as much as possible, right? And that's how you increase your conviction, saying this stock is doing very well, right? Also, if you see here, we had a strong green candle here, and we had multiple candles within that strong green candle. Now that shows also that this stock is just consolidating during that time on a weekly time frame, and this stock will eventually head higher. Now that's what happened recently also in the last 3-4 weeks, and before the stock eventually broke out and eventually ITC headed higher. So learn to observe candles, learn to observe where the wicks are forming, learn to observe the body of the candles, how big they are, and depending on that, you can increase your conviction, right? Now, I've taken another example of Godfrey Phillips to just combine all of these points that I told you, and I'm going to show you how I built conviction in Godfrey Phillips recently, where I took a huge position, almost a very significant position, and I'm riding it. I already am sitting on 5-hour profits, and I'm going to show you how I increased my conviction in Godfrey Phillips. I also posted a video recently on this. Now, the first time Godfrey Phillips came in my scanner was somewhere here when CCI was above 100. But we had volumes, we had strong green candle, but we did not have the relative strength. The relative strength was weak, which means the stock is underperforming the market. So the stock is a no for me. The second time again it came here, a strong green candle, strong volumes, in fact massive volumes. We had we had CCI above 100, but we did not have the latest strength above the 52 moving average. Again, a strong no. The next time the stock again came in a scanner was here. We had CCI above 100, latest strength above 52-week moving average for the first time in many months. So that's the point when you want to really start observing this stock, and you want to know that, okay, this is probably a stock that you want to keep in your watch list, right? And then what happened after this move, we had bad wicks, we had bad candles. Now, as I said, whenever you have wicks, continuous wicks forming on weekly charts, it is not a sign, it is not a strong sign for the stock, and the stock will consolidate. And what happened eventually is stock started going down, and we started forming a sideways trend in Godfrey Phillips. And eventually what happened again, we had a strong move here, but we did not break the previous highs. So for me, that was still a stock in wait. I did not really enter the stock at this point also. And next week also we had a strong, kind of a green candle here. Now eventually the stock came in my radar here this week. And again, the stock was really strong here at this point, amazing volumes, and we finally had a breakout here. Now, when the stock finally had a breakout here, that's the point when I added the stock to my portfolio, and I'm holding on to the stock. I also made a video, and I'm holding on to the stock till now. Now, remember, you need to have CCI, you need to have a relative strength, volumes, and the candle, which increased my conviction. And finally, a breakout above that resistance zone is when I decided this is the time to enter Godfrey Phillips and hold on to this and ride the trend. And that's how you need to build your conviction. So I'm going to also show you one more setup, which is forming currently as I discuss as I'm speaking in this video. I found the setup today, and I'm going to show you how this setup is one of my favorite setups you might have seen, and how this stock is again for me a very favorite setup, and how I am building conviction right now. And I'm going to probably buy this stock in the next few days. If the stock closes very well this week, I'll probably add more as well. Right now, this is a stock, here I'm not looking at CCI, I'm not looking at RSI, just looking at pure candles. I'm going to show you how this setup is good. Right now, this is a beautiful setup. It's a beautiful long-term channel. So the first thing is, for me, channels, trend lines are very, very important. So this trend line is a beautiful long-term trend line, and the stock is finally taking support around this trend line. Now, how is this a perfect channel? Right now, that's the first thing you're asking. Now, first thing is the stock needs to reject multiple times it needs to take support around the lower end of the channel. Now, we had 1, 2, in fact here 3, and finally the fourth time we are taking again support. So for me, the low end of the channel is a perfect lower trend line. And also we had this upper trend line where we got rejection 1, 2 and 3 times. So for me, a channel with more than 2 touch points, more than 2 rejections on the support and resistance lines is a perfect channel. The third thing I want to look at is, what is the reaction in the middle of the channel? Now, channel has 3 points, upper, middle and lower end. Middle channel also is perfect, right? It's ditto a textbook pattern for me. And again, we had rejections here from the support, and again it eventually hit higher. Again, it broke down, tested, and again came lower. So for me, this channel is a perfect channel, and that's why for me this is a brilliant setup, and it increases my conviction. The second thing is, you want to see what is the candle structure. Now, if you see in the last few weeks, we had strong green candles forming around the support zone, right? Now, if you look at this area here, we had a wick here also. So strong bodied candles, green candles, and the 3 weeks here, red candles are within that strong bodied candle. Now, as I showed in ITC, it's a proper setup, a bullish setup that's forming in CRM sales. Now, this wick over here also indicates that stock found demand around the zone. And then you see the strong body candles here before the stock moved higher. That also shows that the stock had a massive demand, and the stock spurted, literally went up from here, these levels. Also, if we see previously, since this July 2021, this has been acting as a very strong support zone. Now, combining all this and looking at today's price action on daily charts, for me, this is a brilliant setup to go long at current market price, keeping a stop loss below the daily low or this low over here. But even though I have conviction now, I will go big only if we close above this zone over here, because remember, this is a 5-week right consolidation. And if we go above this, and if we have a weekly close on this Friday, weekly close above that zone over there, above the 5-week high, that's when I go big and increase stock allocation and make it really a big winner for me. Right now, that's how I increase conviction in stocks that I hold through technical analysis. So this can be applied to stocks, to fundamental analysis, to normal investing, long-term investing. You can apply this to any time frame. I'll do more such videos on this. But before I leave you, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you liked how I increase conviction on my trades. And I'm sure this video will also help you to increase your conviction on your trades as well. So I'll leave you here. Take care, stay safe and trade safe. Until I see another video. Bye-bye.